Another opportunity for us to have the legal program. Sorry for the late start, we had a few technical hitches, but hey, here we are. Tonight we'll be looking at the consumer law. For the past few days we've been looking at immigration, but we've done various areas under the immigration, including the EU settlement scheme and all that. But tonight we want to look at the measures in the budget that are now available for those who are facing energy crisis and hardships, cost of living crisis. I'm going to take my time to point viewers to areas that they can seek help when they are facing some of these hardships. So I'll be looking at the 15 billion that has been allocated for those who are facing energy crisis or those within the low income range or the middle income range, including pensioners, those with disability or those who are on disability living allowance. So I always say that CITI law, we looked at the various areas of law. Tonight, what I'm going to do tonight is about consumer law. When we say consumer, we are looking at individuals. I'm not looking at commercial entities or businesses. I'm just looking at individuals. So tonight's program is about you. It's about making law affordable. It's about making sure that you are pointed to the right direction if you are ever facing some hardships, energy crisis, or living cost crisis. And for those of you who have been watching my WhatsApp profile and my Facebook profile, I have circulated the flyers around, and I'm going to take my time to point viewers to all these areas where they can seek assistance. But we know that most of us are facing these challenges. There is a high inflation. The cost of living has become a major concern to families and households. So tonight is your opportunity to listen, to watch, and obviously to give yourself opportunity to be pointed to areas that you can seek assistance. One thing for sure, most times people don't even know what they are entitled to, and therefore they continue to face these hardships and they don't know who to turn to. That is why this program is proudly sponsored by CITI Law Services, so that viewers will be able to know whom to turn to and what sort of benefits, assistance, helps, measures that have been made available to accommodate some of the hardships that most of us are going through. I want you watching me tonight, please, to share this video with your friends and family members, because this is the opportunity to have free legal advice under our consumer law. And obviously, I'm also going to take opportunity to give viewers update of the law, especially under immigration, and explain some of the things, the changes that are taking place, and how people can take advantage of those changes and the measures that have been put in place. So if it is the first time you have joined us, tonight we do this program every Tuesday in English, where I do this program alone from this CITI Media studio. And then obviously on Thursday we have our famous MC Chaka, who hosts the program so that we can communicate, interact with our friends and families from Ghana in a Twi language. And therefore tonight I'm going to do it in Twi, so all of you who have been following us will have opportunity to benefit from the program that I'm going to present to you tonight. So please, don't go away. Make sure you share the video as I go on a short commercial break. And when I come back, I'm going to introduce the topic so that viewers can have opportunity to know where they can get help when they are facing hardships. Don't go away. everyone. Thank you all for your patience. As I said tonight, looking at consumer law, and I'm going to look at Rishi Sunak's budget. Now look at sort of measures that are in place for those who are facing energy crisis. The good news is that we are soon entering summer, and the weather is soon going to be hot, so people will be able to reduce the consumption of gas usage in the household. But that notwithstanding, we all know that from April, the energy prices has risen very astronomically to almost double the price that we used to pay, and fuel cost has also gone up. And this has presented an insurmountable difficulty for a lot of households and families. And tonight I'm obviously taking this opportunity to interact with viewers and to advise them within the confines of the law, areas where they could look to when they are facing these challenges, and what sort of measures that are there for them. So what sort of help that is available to you if you are facing living costs or energy crisis. And food prices has obviously gone up because of inflation. I'm not doing economics tonight, but obviously this is something that falls within the law, because it's about your right to certain facilities, and you need to be able to know that right legally to be able to claim it. And it's for this reason that I'm here to conscientize you, to make you aware those measures that are there for you to be able to explore and claim, because those are rights that are available to you. But most times, if people don't claim them, then they don't benefit from them. And people will normally not claim them because they are not aware that they do exist. And therefore, it is important that we create this awareness so that people can understand that there is some help somewhere. It's all about those people being aware of their rights and quite rightly so claiming those benefits. But as I do always, this program is about you. It's about making law affordable. It's about making sure that you can ask that legal question that has been lingering in your mind. And obviously at the end of my presentation, I'm going to allow viewers opportunity to ask questions, any legal question, as long as that falls within my area of practice and competence. I am willing and able to answer those questions for you. If this is the first time that you have joined us, as I always remind viewers, we do this program every Tuesday. On Tuesday, we do it in English for the benefit of all those who want to interact with us in the English language. And then on Thursday, our famous MC Chaka hosts this program from this studio, again, the same topic, but this time in Twi, so that we can interact with the Ghanaian community in the diaspora to be able to obviously give them free legal advice in those areas that affects their living conditions in the United Kingdom within the confines of the law. So you can watch this program on CITI Media TV. You can also watch this program, obviously, my own personal profile on Thomas Bebel. You can also watch this program on YouTube, CITI Law Solicitors YouTube channel. We have a channel there. And if you go to CITI Law Solicitors Facebook page, you can also watch this program. So you have about 5 platforms to watch the same program. And above all, you can also listen to this program from CITI Media Radio. So tonight, as you be familiar with the topic for tonight, what help is available to you if you are facing living crisis or energy crisis. If your cost of living has become so high that perhaps your family is even starving, perhaps you are sacrificing your heating or the food in your fridge because you are unable to afford the cost of energy, electricity, or gas. The question is there any help available to you if you are in that situation? And if there is, how do you assess that help? What measures are there to cushion those in those difficulties? This is why I'm here tonight, to explain to you your consumer right to claim those benefits that have been made widely available. And it's just for you to know that right so that you can simply claim it. So I'm going to look at 3 categories of consumers or people who are able to access some of these benefits. And I'm going to take my time gradually so that I'll make sure that each and every one becomes aware of what sort of entitlement that they have or the records they have to claim that benefit. But I'm notwithstanding, even though I'm doing consumer law tonight, I'm also going to look at update of the law under the immigration. And since I'm looking at benefits, helps available to those who are facing hardships, then obviously it's an opportunity for me to also discuss the changes that was published under the Home Office Guidance on the 26th of May 2022, which is about 5 days ago, regarding those who can get a fee waiver to register as children under the age of 18 years. So I will also look at this, but I will do that at the moribund stage of my presentation tonight, or at the closing of my presentation. But I'm also going to give opportunity to those who want to ask questions. So let me start. Now, we all know, most of us would have heard from the news or watched the news that we know that the Chancellor has made available £15 billion to help solve the energy crisis that consumers are facing in terms of high prices of gas and electricity. And there are various sections of people in the economy or the community who have different kinds of entitlements in terms of what they can claim based on this 15 billion that have been made available. Now, to start with, we know that beginning getting to the end of last year, there was some announcement. Some of them have been replaced currently as we speak. Some payments have also been made already. But a starting point is that according to the Chancellor, every household that has electronic meter, and by this I mean whether pay as you go or prepaid meter, those people are entitled automatically to £400, which will be credited. So if you are living in a household and you are using, obviously, almost all households have meters anyway, energy meters. So you are going to be entitled to £400 credit by October of this year. This is something that is a grant. You don't pay back. This replaces what we used to call in the previous announcement use and pay back, which is £200 that people were meant to have access to as a loan and then pay within 5 years. So that has been abolished. Rather, it has been replaced by £400 grant that people, anybody who has electric meter or gas meter is going to be credited this amount. So people must watch out for this. And if for whatever reason the energy providers have not provided them with that credit, then of course they have the right to contact them to ensure that that credit is made available to them. Secondly, all households who are paying council gas and they are within the band of A to D are entitled to £150 credit. And I'm sure that some, even though the local authorities are implementing these facilities under different time scales, but I'm sure some of you by now would have received that rebate already. So that rebate is something that automatically, if you are paying your council tax by direct debit, then automatically that account that you're using to pay your council tax, which is if you are the council tax payer, even if you are a tenant, then automatically that amount is going to be credited to your account as a rebate. But if you don't pay the council tax by direct debit, and by that which means that, for example, every month funds are deducted from your account for the payment or settlement of the council tax over 10 installments. So you automatically get this £150. If your council tax rate is within the band of A to D, you get this amount as a rebate, again free of charge. If you don't pay by direct debit, then probably you have to look at how you contact the council to claim this. Because again, this is something that is your right, that you are entitled to claim. And if you don't claim it, then you probably don't need it. But if you do need it and you're facing energy crisis, this is one of the cushions or the interventions that has been made available to you. So in total, I'm looking at about £550 to households whom I will call consumers. But if you move forward, then we are looking at all those who are entitled to public funds. And this, I mean those who, for example, are entitled to universal credit, personal independence payment, disability allowance, all those who are entitled housing benefit. So all those who are entitled to different categories of state funds or social benefit, they automatically get a tax-free amount of £650, again free of charge. These payments will be made between July and autumn of this year. So if you are someone who is receiving universal credit, if you are receiving housing benefit, if you are receiving disability allowance, if you are receiving any kind of personal independence payment, any kind of state fund or what they call public fund, you are entitled to this £650 grant free of charge. So you see, I have looked at two categories of people. I have looked at all those, whether rich or poor, that pay council tax in their name, get £150 rebate free of charge. Those who have meters, who are using energy, gas, electric, they get £400 payable by October this year. And those who have recourse to public fund getting £650 being payable between July and the autumn. So we have these categories of people who are getting these rebates, grants, free of charge. That's your right to claim it. So HMRC is supposed to make this payment to you, and this should not affect your existing benefit. If the taxman makes mistake and July or autumn you've not received this payment, then probably, if I was you, I'll pick up my phone and call my grant or rebate of £650. I have not received it. Tonight, I am not talking about migration. I'm talking about your money. The money that can cushion you, that can support you, that can provide you some form of intervention to ensure that that living crisis or energy crisis that all of us are currently facing can be something that will not be so challenging and so frustrating for us, because government has made available some form of intervention in the form of £15 billion. So I've spoken about two categories of people here. The third group of people are those that are so vulnerable, those who are disabled. In every community, we have people who have some form of disability. They are disadvantaged because of that form of disability. The government, in its own wisdom, feels that in as much as they can receive these three benefits that I've just explained to viewers, they are equally entitled to receive £150. And for those of you who are on pension, for example, if you are a disabled person, you will see that you'll be receiving disability living allowance. Or you may be receiving disability allowance. So if you are receiving any form of benefits that relate to your disability, then you are entitled to £150. This is also free of charge. This money comes to you by default, merely by the fact that you are receiving, for example, disability benefit or disability allowance, as you say specifically, or disability living allowance. So if you are receiving any of these disability recourse to the public fund, then you are entitled to this £150 in addition to what I've already explained, which is if you are living in a house and you are paying council house, you get £150 rebate. You also get £400 because you are energy user, gas, electric, and you have a meter for that purpose. Therefore, you receive this automatic credit by October. Having said that, we also have those who have worked for many years and eventually have gone on retirement. We call them pensioners. Very few days ago, I was calculating years left that I will equally be going on pension. Some people are fortunate that they are able to go in retirement, but most of us normally go on retirement when we are 65 or above. So these are guys who have worked throughout their life. Most have worked several years in their life. They've contributed so much to the economy. They've paid taxes, and they've gotten to the stage where some of them are not able to work. I want people to understand that what I'm doing here, I am taking my time to explain to people, because most of these benefits overlap. And some people may be entitled to 3 or 4 of these benefits because of the category that they find themselves. And therefore, I want people to take note, because I know that there's one thing one of my European clients said. One of those is that in the United Kingdom, it's not like Europe where we came from. You need to seek to know what you're entitled to. So sometimes you could live here. Some people might even live here for many years. They don't even know that they're entitled to having benefit or universal credit when they are not working. Because sometimes nobody tells you about it. And all these measures that we made available, trust me, there are people who are facing numerous difficulties, financial difficulties, and they might not be aware that they are all entitled to these public funds that have been made available in the form of £15 billion, just to be able to assess these people who are facing financial difficulties because of the energy crisis, because of living costs, which has risen so high. And this is why CITI Law Solicitors is here to enlighten you, to conscientize you, to make you aware that these facilities are here for you, and you are right, and you need to be able to claim them, because if you don't, then what happens is that you don't get that benefit. So I want people to obviously be aware of this, and that's why I'm taking my time to explain, to ensure that people are obviously aware of some of these benefits that is available to them. So I have discussed 3 categories of people. I started very late because I have a little bit of technical hitch, but notwithstanding, this is the commitment that CITI Law Solicitors has made to the public, and so we are always here to ensure that we fulfill our corporate social responsibility. And I'm happy to always be in this studio, knowing that people are receiving this free legal advice, which is bringing enormous improvement in their living conditions, in their daily lives, in terms of some of the challenges they face legally. People are gradually becoming aware of their rights in terms of when they are entitled to make some application under the immigration rules, when they are entitled to assert their rights under the consumer law. So it's always important that we discuss some of these programs. So I have spoken about those who are using meters who are entitled to £400. I've spoken about those who get council tax rebate. I've talked about those who are receiving various benefits and get £50 for whether universal credit or you are receiving housing benefit. I have also spoken about pensioners. With pensioners, I have spoken about those who are receiving disability leave allowance or disability allowance. With pensioners, they also get £300. This is also again payable to them free of charge. It doesn't affect any of the public funds, especially those who are receiving winter fuel allowance. But one will wonder, the lawyer, if I am not someone who is entitled to public fund, because it looks like all this stuff that you've spoken about, they are to do with those who have a right to claim some form of state fund or who have recourse to public fund. And I might not be in a circumstance, or I'm not one of those people because of one reason or the other. I don't fall within any of these categories. So where do I get help if my cost of living is so high because, for example, my energy prices has become unaffordable in terms of my electricity and gas? Who do I turn to? So, yes, I have spoken about the 15 billion pounds being what has been made available in terms of all these various benefits that have been made available to people. And quite rightly so, people are entitled to claim them. But having said that, there are other charities, organizations, as I said earlier, that I was going to point people to. These charity organizations are also there to provide support to those who are facing this energy crisis. So we have the Energy Foundation Bank. This is a charity organization that for whatever reason you are a vulnerable person, you are unable to pay for your electricity or gas, and it's all over England and Wales. If you can go on the internet and contact them, they will be able to provide you some form of credit in terms of electricity or gas for you to use free of charge. So if you are somebody who does not have the right to claim public funds, and therefore you are unable to access any of these benefits, it doesn't mean that you are excluded from receiving any assistance or help. Rather, you are entitled to obviously contact some of these charity organizations who are very helpful to provide you some form of credit for you to be able to, especially for those of you who are using pay as you go and sometimes find it difficult to top up your electricity. They'll provide you this credit and you'll be able to use it free of charge. So they have all these fuel banks, just as we have food banks, which has become so infamous or famous, depending on how you're looking at it, all over the place in most of the major cities. We also have these fuel banks which are also available to those who are able to afford to purchase energy, either gas or electric. They can get credit from these charity organizations. We have the Energy Foundation Action. So I've spoken about Energy Bank. We have the Energy Foundation Action, which ensure that there are partnerships of service providers, energy providers, who are able to also contribute to this charity so people can access them free of charge. So I've looked at those who are entitled to the state fund or public fund and those who are able to access public funds, but they are also entitled to get assistance from either the Energy Foundation Action or the Energy or the Fuel Bank, which are all charity organizations purposely there to provide support to those who are facing energy crisis. So you realize that there are numerous assistance or help that is available to a lot of us if for whatever reason we are facing most of these challenges. But having looked at the assistance or the help that is available to those who are facing energy crisis or living cost crisis, I always say that immigration is life. And since I'm looking at what sort of assistance or help is available to you if you are facing energy crisis or living cost crisis, then it is then intertwined, or it is also important that I look at what they call a fee waiver. Now, on the 26th, and I know that most people, when I talk about immigration, they are more akin to have an interest. But I always say that CITI Law Solicitors, we are here to provide holistic advice, comprehensive advice to the public, in the sense that by providing that advice to the public, they are able to know their rights, they are able to benefit from all the facilities and the helps or the measures that are available to support them. So that is what we call fee waiver. This has been there for most categories of applications made under the immigration rules. For example, those that comes under the human right, like those who have lived here for 20 years, they want to make application, they get what they call fee waiver if they are able to show what they call mean tested. Those who are making application as parents of British children or children who have been here for 7 years, or even children who have been here 7 years themselves, they are entitled to this fee waiver. But the good news is that on the 26th of May, which most of you are already aware, Home Office, even though in the past has vehemently opposed to provide fee waiver for children born in the UK or who are in the UK but under the age of 18 who want to register. Remember, when you are an adult, you naturalize to become a British. When you are a child under the age of 18, you register to become a British. So the good news is that on the 26th of May, which is 5 days ago, Home Office published their famous fee waiver policy, which allows all children who are under the age of 18 who are making application to register to become British. So I want to take just 2 minutes to explain this policy, which was published on 26th of May 2022, because I have been looking at what sort of assistance is available to you if you are facing living condition crisis or energy crisis or cost of living crisis, I should say. So obviously this fee waiver specifically is for those who want to, those children it means that their parents and the child themselves will be assessed, and if they are able to show that they are unable to afford the fees, which is over £1,000, or if paying for the fees will result in some hardships in their lives in terms of unable to pay their rent, or they can become a destitute, or it could affect the amount of money they would have used for feeding, that when both parents are assessed, then they will be entitled to this fee waiver. So there is a slight distinction between the fee waiver for making human rights applications. For example, if a child is making application for fee waiver as a child who have lived here for 7 years, normally it is the parent who is the primary carer that will be assessed. It means that if both parents' names are on the birth certificates, it's only the one that the child is living with who is going to be assessed, to ascertain or to find out whether he has the means to pay for this child's application. However, for the fee waiver for making an application for a child to register to become a British, the policy stipulates that, or makes it clear that, both parents whose names are on the birth certificates are going to be assessed. So the child might not even be living with the father. He's living with the mother. But because the father's name is on the birth certificate, the father needs to be assessed. Because remember, before a child is issued with a British passport, both parents need to consent, unless you are saying that one of the parents have absconded, which is a legal complex word to define or to explain. So there is a slight distinction here. And obviously the child himself or herself is also to be assessed. So the good news is that this policy obviously now allows children under the age of 18 who want to register under various categories of the nationality law to get a fee waiver. So it's been a privilege to have you tonight. At this point, I want to open the phone lines. If anybody has any legal question, this is your opportunity to ask, because very soon I'm going to leave the studio. But before I do that, I want to acknowledge my viewers. I started a bit late tonight, so I can see that the turnout is quite low, but I'm so impressed, especially for those of you who always support this program. And it is for this reason, whenever there is any good news, we are yearning to share it with you. So please continue to follow us, and you regularly receive any update that obviously can make immense difference in your life. So at this point, I'm going to acknowledge my viewers, but whilst I'm doing that, if you have any legal question, I have put the phone lines there. You might also have a testimony you want to share so others might benefit from this program that we are doing. Again, this is your opportunity to do that. So I have Tina Tamakro all the way in Ghana, Accra, watching tonight. Thank you so much, Tina, for joining us all the time. I have Adubuahin Akwasi, who is watching. Adubuahin, thank you so much. I have Agata Asiama, who is also watching. I have Joe Chaka, who is one of us here in the studio, the host for the Chill program. I have Dora Frimpong, thank you so much, Dora Frimpong, who is also watching tonight. I have Emmanuel Say, who is watching tonight. And I have Inchi Okpa. So, as I said, obviously, I started a bit late, but that notwithstanding, even though the studio, this computer, sometimes it's so difficult to manage it. And when I was about to start the show, it started giving me some problems. Hey, but hey, here we are. We still have the show. So I always say that somebody is sponsoring the show, and therefore we need to introduce that person. It's no other person than CITI Law Solicitors. Now, CITI Law Solicitors is a well-established firm which practices in numerous areas of law in the United Kingdom. We are located at Barking. Barking is in East London, for those of you who know East London, very close to the station. The office address is Unit 113 Barking Enterprise Center, or Unit 122 and 113 Barking Enterprise Center, 50 Cambridge Road, Barking, IG 118FG. We specialize in numerous areas of law. We do immigration and nationality and asylum law. I'm sure most of you will testify the kind of job that we've done for most of you. And we always say that our passion is to ensure that people get their problems resolved. Because there is no point practicing as a lawyer and not being able to solve people's problems. It's like being a pastor and not being able to win souls for the Lord, or delivering people from their captivity, or even spreading the good news so people who are downtrodden get encouraged and wake up and go about their activities in a way that God sits on the throne and begin to laugh. That is my son encouraging my children. The devil cannot frustrate them. So CITI Law Solicitors, we are here to solve those problems that is giving you sleepless night. There is a solution somewhere. You just have to seek advice. So we practice in immigration. We have people who didn't know that they were even entitled to make application, who thought that their problems were insurmountable. But there have always been a solution for them. So if you ever have any immigration problem, we are here to assist you, to take you through that journey. And gradually, you are going to get to that destination. Heaven on earth. Again, we specialize in employment law. And this is the area that I cherish so much, because most times, CITI Law Solicitors, we get very, very angry when people have committed themselves so much to the employer, they work so hard, and one reason or the other, they are dismissed unfairly, or they have received unfavorable treatment, they are discriminated, and then sometimes they are not able to get their pay, or they are made redundant unfairly. If you are one of those people and you are having problem at your workplace, we are here to support you. I always say that we do most of these cases on no win, no fee basis, which means that if for whatever reason you have any of those problems, then we are here to make sure that we can provide that assistance. And it means that you are going to get somebody to help you to get that compensation that you have been waiting for from the employer. Because somebody, I always say that most of these employers today, one of my clients that I was dealing with his employment case, and he said to me that when he went for the investigatory meeting, because of letter that have been sent on his behalf, the employer has to bring their own lawyer. So you see that most of these employers have lawyers. So just imagine if you don't have. I just noticed that I have turned the phone lines off. So if any of you wants to call, I have now opened the phone lines. When I said I've opened the phone lines, I didn't know that the phones were off. Oh my God, today has not been a good day. But the good thing is that I have viewers who are still interacting with us here, and It's always amazing how we have people who are so committed to this show. And that's why I'm always full of faith for those of you who are always here with us. Yes. So I have now opened the phone lines. I just noticed that the phone lines were off. The phones were off. You can hear the sound. It's now on. I've seen some missed calls, some people who are making an effort to call. But you can call now. So with employment law, we are able to assist you to fight that employer, to claim that compensation if you have been discriminated from work, if you have been unfairly dismissed. We will assist you to get compensation. You know, we get huge sums of money for people who sometimes didn't even know that they could ever get anything at all for being unfairly dismissed from work. But again, we also specialize in consumer law, which is what I'm describing to you tonight. We know that people make purchases, they buy stuff. Sometimes shops are reluctant to exchange. Sometimes they have had bought cars, for example, the cars are defective. The manufacturers are reluctant to either replace them or to undertake repairs on them in breach of the Consumer Rights Act 2015. So we have those who have insurance problems and they got involved, they pay these premiums regularly, and when it's time for them to make a claim against the insurance companies, they try to write out of these claims. Again, we are here to assist those people who are facing those challenges. So CITI Law Solicitors is not just an immigration platform. This is where you get all your legal needs met. However, we also specialize in family law. I might not be able to give you counseling because I'm not a pastor, but I know the law. And the CITI Law Solicitors, we have specialist lawyers who are family law accredited. And so our accredited lawyers are there to support you with your family law matters. So if you ever had any family law matter in terms of going through divorce, if you have child arrangement problem, you are not being able to see your child, or this time, I always advise people, domestic abuse is now a criminal offense. And I know I have represented a client who suffered domestic abuse, and the abuser is now in prison. So people need to be careful. Sometimes allegations are made. You need a lawyer to defend you. Don't deal with these cases alone because you could end up in prison, custodial sentence. So CITI Law Solicitors, we are here to assist you. If you have any problem to do with occupation order, non-molestation order, our family law specialists are there to support you. We also specialize in housing law. If you're having housing disrepair problems, we are there to support you. We are there to ensure that those disrepairs that you are suffering, that has caused you some disease or some injuries, you can get some form of compensation for that. Also, commercial disputes and civil litigation. Sometimes people sign agreements, contracts, without seeking advice on them, and eventually they are in breach, and there are large quantities of money that claims that are made against them. If you are defending a claim, if someone is owing you and he doesn't want to pay, our commercial dispute and civil litigation department is there to support you. And finally, personal injury and clinical negligence. We also specialize in personal injury. If you ever had an accident at a workplace, if you were in a car and had an accident, if you went to the hospital and you had some surgery that didn't end up well, then CITI Law Solicitors, we are here to represent you and assist you to claim some compensation for your injuries. And we do all these cases on conditional fee agreement. no win, no fee. So tonight is been an opportunity to have all of you on board, and I'm so grateful for those of you who have joined us tonight and have made this program a success, despite the fact that I started very, very late. I'm so thankful to you, and God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you.